Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Leadership Conversations with Barbara and myself. We are co CEOs of Empowering Leadership Team, and the name of our company says what we do. We develop and empower people and their team, which helps build thriving businesses. And today we're going to talk about mentorship.
Right. Hi, everybody. This is a great topic because no matter if you're supervising others or really even whatever level of responsibility and title you have in a company, understanding the role of mentorship in our performance and interactions within the team and company is really important.
I'll just take a moment now as we're getting started to invite you all to consider mentorship and how you go about it right now in your role. If you were to stop and think about it in this moment, do you mentor and develop others? Are you mindful of doing that on a regular basis? Is it currently something you just do when you're giving very formal performance coaching feedback? Do you have a mentor yourself? Do you feel mentored by people in your company? So, what currently is your relationship to mentorship, and how much of your day do you currently mentor?
Yeah. And for some people, it's just like, well, what's the definition? This is one of those words, too, that can be so generally used, really honing in on what we're talking about in this conversation is helpful. Mentoring is being able to guide and direct people, being way more developed yourself to be aware of the influence and impact that you have just by defining who you are within the company, within your role, whether you're interacting with clients or staff members. If there's people above you in the C suite or in the managerial team or in the functioning team, all of those interactions, you have a role and an identity in your workplace. So knowing that you have influence and impact from that, some of it, Heather, we were talking about some of that is sharing the knowledge and expertise, showing up with confidence so that you can play your role, do your part with confidence and share from the COO position that I am in. Here's how I look at it. And here's some of my thinking. And that's part of the conversations that start happening from a mentorship mindset.
Yeah. And speaking of mentorship mindset, Barbara, I know that we think the same on this, but one of the things I was thinking about in preparation for this conversation was whether or not you manage other people, whether you think of yourself as you have people right underneath you that you formally manage or not. I invite you to consider that you do need to mentor your team. You need to share a little bit about why you think what you think from your area of expertise. That is valuable when you share that cross functionally, when you help develop other departments to know why you think about things, how you think about them, and they get to do the same, vice versa. This mentorship of better understanding each other's approach and areas expertise actually helps us do the teamwork in more fluid ways.
Yeah. And touching on what you just said, one of the traps that can happen as people develop in the roles, as the company expands, your role responsibilities expand, that you become a valuable resource. That's a good thing.
Yeah.
Okay. But the trap of that is when you hold on to that, right? Now you become the resource rather than in the role of mentoring. We share our knowledge, we share what we learned and let it go so that other people on the team can have that and they don't have to keep going, oh, Barbara, you're the resource for this. And it's like, oh no, I released that. I shared that knowledge and I helped people integrate that. That's what a mentorship role does. It doesn't tell people how to do things. As a mentor, you're sharing example, you're sharing yourself as a resource, knowledge, but you really are letting that go so that you don't become this bottleneck often is what happens, and it's a
Mhm.
little bit a trap for yourself. Heather, we were talking about this earlier, I think, when we were chatting about this topic, how that if I don't let go of all the resource I am, there's kinda not enough room for me to expand myself.
Yeah, I have coached numerous leaders over the years, so I hope some that watch the recording or in the audience right now might be able to relate to this idea that people on the team come to you and they count on you for the answers, and they almost stop developing themselves and they don't go to the point of thinking it through now for themselves and releasing you from having to be the answer person. So, to free yourself up from this, which can be a common dance in entrepreneurial teams and a real pain point, then you want to do what Barbara's suggesting, to really mentor and develop others, and then now you've got it. You know how to think about this, right? And then we empower others to we kind of think of it as cutting that cord too. Like, no, you know
Mm,
how to think about this and you know where the resource is. And actually, if you take a moment, you'll probably know the answer, right? So sometimes our mentorship and development of others is that.
yeah. And, one of the things in that line that you were talking about of development in this is that if you find yourself micromanaging,
Yes.
right? Or holding back from the kind of support your instincts are telling you to bring because you're afraid to micromanage, right?
I think
This,
that happens the most, Barbara.
yeah. So that's like, oh, let me kind of get my mentoring mindset in place so that because that mindset and the perspective you see from carrying that leads to the kind of behaviors that are best in your performance because there's a coaching role that really is a development role for anybody, again, growing in responsibilities in your role within an organization, or even more so if you are supervising others, because that part of learning to get results through other people's thinking and actions is something that is a process to learn in leadership. And if you go from like that training, telling people what to do, and how to do it and how it's always been done, right? That's good, and there's a stage for that. But
Mhm.
there's a second stage that comes after that where it's like, "Okay, I've given that information. Now I need to shift to being a coach," which means I'm not giving the answers, I'm asking good questions. I'm drawing out and then adding in so that I can help people. I call it connect the dots so that they can start connecting the dots of how the complexity of business, how we do things to get results together on a team, right? So this coaching part is important because we often get stuck in the place of being very busy. We
Mm.
know they know their role or they know this task, so we just give an answer and keep running. We need to slow that down and move into this coaching piece so that we learn how to do that. Meaning, like, oh, let me see what they're thinking so I can support them connecting the dots. And now they're ripe for this opportunity to grow in being mentored. There's the mentoring and there's also the being mentored, which are development. In mentoring, then they're thinking, they're resourcing, and they're kind of get to a point and they're like, okay, this is everything I thought. This is everything I researched. This is what I've put together. Here's, I think, the best solution. What do you think? And then as a mentor, you can add to again or acknowledge. And then after a while, it's like, hey, you got that part. You don't have to check in anymore. Right? And that creates space for both people. One, for somebody to take more responsibility in their role, and for the mentor to get freed up to do other things in their role.
Right. Yeah. I like the role of curiosity and curious questions in this mentorship coaching relationship as well, Barbara. It makes me think that, it takes an extra beat to slow down. And I often say you have to slow down to speed up in entrepreneurial business. We have to know the moments to take a beat and slow it down. And so, as you were sharing that example, it made me think of at the time when a team member comes to you and they haven't done the work or the process in the right way. Now, instead of just letting them know they gave you the wrong answer, or be frustrated quickly in your response, consider something along the lines of, can you tell me how you got to this solution? Because when you ask a question like that, they'll have to pause and be more engaged in their thinking. They'll be slowing down to explain and think things through more. They may catch their error in that slowdown. And also, either way, when they reveal what their process was, then you'll get to see what the real gap is that you need to close. And you'll get to close it once and for all because you got to it. So, we want to be able to pause and find these moments of mentorship and development in our everyday interactions.
Right, right. And so much of this, as we're talking kind of associating this with mindset, like setting your mind to your intentions is what we're really talking about in this case, right? And it's something to be more aware, right? So what's the impact? What's the influence I'm having? What what approach in connection and communication and support should I be doing at this stage? And I was just thinking how you don't have to be what's the word I was looking for? Kind of like you don't have to be subtle about this. In
Just that we
fact,
be clear and direct.
clear and direct, and even like saying in my mentoring in this moment, like, because I did have a coaching situation one time with one of my clients where they were caught in the habit. So they were kind of trying to do the coaching stage, but certainly they needed to be mentoring because there was micromanaging, right? And micromanaging feels like tension on both sides. And sometimes you don't quite know. And then sometimes it gets obvious what's happening, right? But they were having that tension for a while, needed to make a shift. And this person I was coaching made the shift. She was doing great in learning more the mentoring style, coming from that mindset and asking more questions and allowing more space for the person to lead in. And what ended up happening, because she did the different behavior, but kind of subtly, I guess it sounded like, because the other person, the person who was reporting to her, felt abandoned.
Right.
She didn't know what was going on, but then when the person who was mentoring said, "Oh, well, I am doing things differently. That's probably what you're experiencing." The person was like, "I'm not doing anything different." Like, she just didn't know because she wasn't brought along with the development step that they were in. So that's where I'm saying you don't have to be subtle about this. You
Like,
can actually
actually
say,
call
talk
it
about
out.
it.
Yeah.
Yes, I think that's important because there's 2 sides of development here. It's a two-way street here,
Yeah.
right?
I was also gonna say to that end of the two-way street, Barbara, if you feel that you're in a more advanced role and you are leading and developing others, it's also important to seek out the opportunities and the moments where you can be mentored by your leadership. And this happens good in the daily moments too. I was thinking about someone that we coach on a team that moved up to a very, it was like a jump, a great jump for her career, a big opportunity and a lot of responsibility. And one of the things that she needed to be vocal about being mentored on was with her supervisor. Hey, can you tell me which reports you evaluate most regularly and for what information, like what information really matters most in this role.
Mm.
And that was a way of getting herself onboarded really quickly and developed really quickly too, because the supervisor might not have caught that, like, oh, that could really help her. Let me teach her right away where to find the best reports and why I look at these reports, like what really matters, because inside every organization, there's tons of data and information, right? And you want to be raising your hand, I guess. I'm trying to encourage people to have that confidence within confidence to more clearly coach, mentor, and develop the people you work with that you manage and also in your cross-functional relationship. But make sure you're being mentored as well by asking questions, asking your supervisors and leaders why they think about what they think about, how they think about it. Because first, you want to learn how and why they think about things, and then you get to advance and make those things your own.
Mm. Yeah. Yeah. Don't assume that you're being gonna just be mentored or then complain if you're not, because that's a loss of your own power. So I love what you're
Yeah,
sharing
I just
because
want everyone to feel empowered around, and why you said it earlier, Barbara, we're talking about mentorship as a mindset, and we want everyone empowered around it.
yeah, and just knowing that this is an important stage and expression in communication and interaction within leadership and teamwork,
Yeah.
where I love what you're bringing in, no matter what part of your role is, you're being supervised or you're supervising or you're not even supervising, but you have responsibilities in the chain of interaction to get results together, right? And don't assume this. You can actually be empowered to influence and impact what is most needed when this stage is becoming apparent, and it will become apparent. It's one of those things, if it's not working, one of the things you can ask is like, what's within my power? What am I missing? And maybe there's habits of ways that I'm communicating or doing things that need to shift. And then we can connect with others about it. Again, we don't have to be subtle. This is actually development and growth. It's really growth mindset that this falls under, right?
Well,
To
because we
keep
keep
developing.
idle or shy about giving people feedback and developing them, and that often backfires because we let performance things go unaddressed, and then people are more upset to hear about it later when, "Oh, I've been doing this way for some time. Why didn't you just let me know?" No, I also just want to encourage those leaders that may fall into the being avoidant of back in development conversations because they want to be nice, that, actually developing others is the change part.
Absolutely. Yeah, and if it's not working on your end, it's probably not working on their end either, right? And so I like how you posed that conversation earlier, just being like asking some open-ended questions into the information you're thinking you need. You can even phrase us like, I'm kind of feeling like it would be helpful for me to have more information about how you see the data and what data we're looking for. So you can create that sounds really a safe and connecting in a positive way to pull this conversation together to see if we can work this out to get more information flowing, versus feeling if you wait too long and you're getting frustrated and it feels more corrective or a complaint, and it's hard for then people to sift through the conversation here. Oh, there's a need here. Let me address that because, of course, we all want to set each other up for success in our team, in our business.
Yeah, so Barbara, before we close this session, I just want to make sure we address the main promising question that we offered people with this session. We want them to know that mentorship strengthens your team and your business. So, do you think, do we have anything else to add for this as to why it actually grows and strengthens your team and business? I think it's pretty evident, but I just wanted to see if there was anything else we wanted to add about that.
Well, the thing comes to mind, and we might have covered this pretty well, but just that mentorship is about opening and expanding opportunities to take on more responsibilities or gain more knowledge in your own role. The more you can release what you're carrying as this important information in our processes, our company information. So it really is. Without it, you start getting bogged down,
And
right?
get
So
stuck, right? And you're
right.
like, I've had to coach leaders over the years and have them be stronger in developing others and really think about, like, you need to replace yourself, free yourself up from this thing that doesn't need you anymore to be the one holding the thinking about it, to have your time going to tasks like these, right? The best
Mhm.
leaders know how to get proactive with this and recognize when they want to develop others. And it can feel scary sometimes because we're actually asking you to think ahead and start freeing yourself up from certain level of things so that your role can grow and expand as the business and the clientele have other needs because your business has evolved. Leaders often have to be in this scary dance where they're like, at least in coaching with Barbara and myself, oh no, but if I'm not doing that, what will I be doing? And
Plenty, plenty. I mean, like, don't worry about it. There is so much more. And when they can step back a little, they're like, what are the things that you've thought about that you just never get to, or something to research that might be helpful for the company? And this is a vital piece. We build a business, and there's times we scale our business. But what a business most needs is to be foundationally sustainable and having a steady state, and this is part of that flow or steady state. I like to think of it as a flow, also, that the life of the business is needed. And it positions you for not only a healthy, vibrant business in whatever the fluctuations of the external environment and market might bring, but it also positions you for the best position when it is a moment that you can scale. You've got the foundation and everybody's as a resource and these relationship connections that can really bring that forward in the positive ways for your business and for your team's success.
awesome. I love that. I think let's leave it there, Barbara. Thank you for talking about this mentorship topic with me today. And I want to invite all of you. There's a link below to click to go to our website for empowering leadership teams, and you can do a discovery call with Barbara to see and get support around this topic of mentorship and development. These are not sales calls. This is an opportunity to connect and get some real time coaching support. So please take advantage of this opportunity. Barbara and I love what we do, and we're doing this as a way, of course, to reach new clientele. But we want to meet you and we want to help you meet this moment as the leaders to give you that next thing that you're going to put in your leadership toolbox that's going to help you expand in your role and in your future in the year ahead. So please take us up on that opportunity, and thank you for your time and attention today.
Thank you, everybody. Bye.
Bye.